Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our forum today. We're really happy to have you here, both here in the auditorium and also by Zoom. And we're starting just a little bit late because I'm Dave Brosh and one of the organizers, and you'll be also hearing from John Tabori, organizer 2, former mayor of University Park, and he will be on at the conclusion of the program. We first want to thank Dean Don Jordan of the School of Architecture, Planning and Preservation, who has been so gracious in allowing us to meet here in the auditorium today. We also want to thank the other two sponsors, Sustainable Maryland and Mike Hunningham, and the Prince George's Sierra Club and its leader, Janet Gingold, who's here today and was actually instrumental in actually getting this presentation actually going. So thank you, Janet, so much. I'd also like to ask if Dean Jordan would like to say a few words. We like to have you talk before we begin our session. Dean Jordan.
Good morning. Welcome to the School of Architecture, Planning and Preservation. How many of you have been here before? Great, almost everybody. Well, for those of you who are newcomers, welcome. We're about 56 years old, and our building is the same vintage. So if you want to, in your mind, step back in time, that's where we're stepping back to. The school has changed and grown over time. So its first class that inhabited this building, was less than 100 students, actually much less than 100 students. And now we're at about 650 students. We educate architects as undergraduates and graduates. We educate real estate students who do undergraduate and graduate work. We have city planners at the master's level, historic preservationists, and those who get interdisciplinary PhDs in planning and design. So this is a fun place to be. You were actually here on the quietest day I've ever seen in the School of Architecture, which is actually kind of nice because we are high volume and action-packed throughout the year. Most of the times when you'd come here, you'd see the great space, which is just down the hall to the right, filled with students and drawing paper and posting things and creatively working through solutions that are related to architectural design, sustainable architecture, architectural history and theory, urban design. One thing that makes this school special, I've been here for 2 years and I came here intentionally, is because it's committed to civic engagement and public interest design. So we work with communities. We do that through 2 very special programs. One, we've talked about already, the Environmental Finance Center, and they are home to Sustainable Maryland. And they do really important work with communities all over the state, really infusing the notions of sustainability into their work. And we're really proud of them. They were recognized for that work by the legislature this year, who made an extraordinary commitment to the vitality of that program. We're also home to the National Center for Smart Growth. Maryland is a smart growth state, and I bet you know that better than anybody else. Smart growth means that there's planning that happens at the state level. And as a woman who's lived in Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, Oklahoma, and Texas, you can bet that I love a little bit higher level thinking about the way that a place turns out. Now, some of you might say, well, it's not that smart. Look at all these problems that we have. The reality, after living in Florida for a long time where the population grew 100 or 1,500 people a day for many years, is that we have no idea how it would have turned out in the absence of some of the regulatory schemes that we have. One of my first jobs in Florida was with 1,000 Friends of Florida. So the work you're interested in and committed to doing is near and dear to my heart. I did a lot of watershed protection around karst topography, which is really interesting when everything from the surface flows right down into the groundwater. I did climate change work in Florida during a governorship where you couldn't say the word climate change or sea level rise. And so we had to call it coastal dynamic shifts. And I marched around Florida planning for coastal dynamic shifts until it was okay to use the words. So I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad you're here using the words, and I am going to sit in as a guest and learn with you. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge also, we have, it looks like I don't see them here today, but they may be here on Zoom. We're probably going to have Senator Alonzo Washington, Delegate Ann Healy, and County Council members Eric Olson and Wanika Fisher. And I think I did see Delegate Ann Healy's name on the Zoom link, so I guess she's listening right now. Thank you for coming. I'd like to also introduce Ralph Bennett, who is going to lead our panels this morning. Ralph is a founding emeritus principal of Bennett, Frank, and McCarthy Architects. The firm specializes in residential housing, master planning, and urban design, and has won many local and national design awards. Ralph is a fellow of the American Institute of Architects and is LEED certified. He's taught design studio here at the university for 31 years and is professor emeritus. He also serves on a number of local commissions and currently is the president of Purple Line Now, an advocacy group for light rail between Bethesda and New Carrollton. And we'll be going right by here. Ralph will be leading the forum panels this morning, as I said. Finally, I'd like to explain why I'm here today. I moved to College Park to attend the University of Maryland and obtained a degree in architecture decades ago and spent many hours in this very building. So I have a lot of fond memories. My wife Sharon and I moved to University Park and raised our 3 children here. Each has since graduated from the University of Maryland, either as an undergraduate, graduate, or both. My wife headed a department at UMUC, which is now UMGC, in the distance education program before she retired. This is all to say that my family and I have deep roots here. We love our town, this university, and care deeply about the welfare of the greater Prince George's county community. When I attended architecture classes here decades ago, I don't remember a lot of discussion about stormwater management, but I know that it's changed as we now understand that humans are altering the climate and the importance of mitigation actions both on the national and local level. I will be first to admit that I am now just learning some of the intricacies of stormwater management. But I'm an observant, and I also think I have some common sense. I say this because through much of 2022, I witnessed months of continual pollution of our local creek called Wells Run, which originates in Hyattsville, flows through the University Park, then into Riverdale Park, and eventually into the Anacostia River. The long and steady stream of silt and clay came from a new housing development called Gateway West, which is being built by the Stanley Martin Corporation. The 30+ acres was clear cut and lacked adequate silt fencing or a sufficient storm water management pond. To deal with the clay and soil running off the site, I witnessed their staff hosing the sediment that had leaked into the Northwestern High School parking lot and also onto Belcoast Road into storm drains, which then flowed into our towns downstream of development. Our creek is finally a bit cleaner now, but it got me to thinking that there must be other and better ways of building housing and other development projects while protecting the environment and surrounding communities. Might there be a better stormwater management practices as well as more effective, it might be better practices and also more effective regulations, permitting, inspections, and enforcement. Without these, the same problems will continue to happen over and over again and be borne by other communities in the county as land is cleared for new development and we experience more frequent and intense storms. The infrastructure we built during the 20th century is probably going to be insufficient in this new century. Thank you for listening. Now let's move to our panels, and I'm going to let Ralph Bennett take the floor. Thank you.
I get this. Good morning. Thank you for your patience. And thanks to all who have made this possible. This is a complex enterprise, and were it not for our help in IT and classroom support, it wouldn't happen, and I'll do my best to make it happen properly. My pedagogical instincts cause me to point out that the term stormwater has been changed by the Green Building Council to say rainwater. And that's an indication of the ubiquity of the influence of liquid precipitation on our built environment. We have to dedicate enormous resources to the management of this precipitation going forward, and you read the headlines where parts of the country are receiving inches of rain an hour, which has to be handled physically on the ground, all the way from retail by encouraging all of us to have rain gardens and other things which reduce the flow of water to the infrastructure, to the separation of sanitary from storm sewers, which happened for development after World War II, but prior to that time combines rainwater with sewage and results in federal regulations, most notably the MS4 permitting process from EPA, Municipal Sanitary and Storm Sewer Systems, which is a regulatory burden delegated to the states and then to the localities of extreme complexity, which deals on a policy basis with the management of this issue. So I signed up to come to this event this morning because I'm going to learn a lot. And I was invited by David to participate in organizing, which doesn't need much organizing. It's done a fabulous job, and this is a great event, and I'm delighted that it's going to be recorded because the people who will be speaking to you are enormously expert and interesting. The first one I'd like to